There's a story that I like to tell, and I tell it often, but since I haven't been on retreat here before, I don't imagine most of you have heard me tell it. So that's what's nice about doing retreats with people who haven't heard me before. I don't have to worry about repeating myself so much. It's a very old Zen koan. A Zen koan is sort of they're kind of riddles, really, that you can't really solve them with your conceptual mind. And so I like this one because, last night there was a few people who talked about death in different contexts. So it brought to mind this koan. And the koan paints this wonderful, vivid image. And the image is, there's a man way high up in a tree, and he's hanging from a branch by his teeth. He's holding on to the branch by his teeth. And of course, if he lets go, he'll fall to his death. And so he's in quite a predicament. And his hands are tied behind him, so he can't reach up and grab a branch. And so just imagine, there you are, holding on to a branch way high up in a tree by your teeth. Right? And you're weakening, right? And you can feel your impending death coming because you're just about to have to let go of this branch. And just about that time, some little Zen master walks in the scene, looks up at you, and says, "Say the one true thing that can save your life." You see what I mean? Isn't it a great image? It's a wonderful image. So a koan like this, an image like this, it's like many situations in life where you feel stuck. You can't go left, you can't go right, you can't go up, you can't go down. It seems like anything you do is going to be wrong. And you just are at your wit's end. And so here's this little Zen master that says, say the one true thing that can save your life. Of course, as you already know because you laughed, the joke is that even if the poor guy could figure out the one thing that could save his life, he has to let go of the branch to say it. Right? So he's dead. And so if you're given this kind of koan by a teacher, you're just given the story like that. And they want you to come up with a response. They want you to come up with the one true thing that can save your life. And these kind of riddles, these kind of stories, they're constructed very deliberately to elicit conditioned thinking, right? That's what they're meant to do. They're meant to elicit your conditioned thinking, tie you up in a ball so you can't think your way out of it, right? So the first thing that most people do when they get this story, and you can feel it intrinsically, it just sort of arises within you, is you want to save this guy's life, right? You want to save his life. You're trying to figure out, how can I save this poor guy's life? How can his life be saved? The Zen master comes up, say the one true thing that could save your life. So now you're trying to figure out, what's the one thing he could say that saves his life, right? So if you're given this koan, most people would come back and forth between their teacher, they'd meditated on, they come back, they try to come up with all these fancy answers, all of which would usually be rejected. Because they're making one mistake. They're making one mistake because there's one thing about this story that's unavoidably true. No matter how you think about this story, there's one thing that's absolutely certain about this story. But almost everybody denies the one true thing about this story when they're given this koan. They know the one true thing, but they pretend they don't know it, which is, this guy's going to die. Right? That's what's going to happen. There's no way out for him. He's hanging by a branch from his teeth. His hands are tied behind him. He's going to fall to his death. It doesn't really matter what he says on the way down. Right? The strange thing is you can be told this story And you can spend hours, days, weeks, or months trying to figure out how to save the guy, even though the first time you hear it, you know he can't be saved. He's done for. So it's a great story in the sense that it elicits our irrationality. Because it's irrational to try to save this guy's life when you know his life can't be saved. But we do it anyway, right? We suspend our disbelief and we try to rationalize our way out of this corner. And so this isn't just something that happens in a strange old Zen story. It happens all the time when you find yourself in a corner. You can't go left or right or up or down. You can't think your way out. You don't know what to do. You don't know where to go. You don't know how to respond to what you're experiencing. Right? And yet, we still haven't come up with the one true thing that can save his life. You can't save his life until you let him die, however. Right? The only way to save his life is you have to let him die. So, I'm not going to tell you like the answer to this, but I'll give you a kind of resolution to the dilemma. Which is if you're up the tree, because that's how you have to look at these things. If you're up the tree and it's you hanging on by your teeth and you're certain to die, and some Zen master says, say the one true thing that can save your life, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're not dead yet. Now, if you saw the situation absolutely clear, which is you're going to die, if you saw it absolutely clearly, then you would completely accept your situation. You would open your mouth and you just fall. And between that branch and the ground, you would probably be alive for the first time in your life. Because you'd relinquished all fear. You'd finally had joined the situation of your life. It's like when someone's going to die. Sometimes people go out kicking and screaming the whole way, terrified. And sometimes people at some point, it's like they let go of that branch and they just... And in whatever time they have left before they die, they're free. They've saved their life. They've actually lived. And if you've ever been around someone like that, you know what I mean. You know they're more alive than most anybody you meet. And so this guy got his chance to live for at least a couple of seconds in his life, which is more than most people. To live without fear, without hesitation, without doubt, without anxiety, without anger, without anything. At least he got 2 seconds. And so in a sense he did save his life, right? And he touched upon eternal life. He touched upon nirvana. Or you could say he entered the kingdom of heaven at that moment that he let go. And you see, at those situations, there's no strategizing, is there? There's no talking your way out of it. There's no, how do I deal with this? There's an absolute meeting your situation. Seeing clearly your situation and completely surrendering. So, this is a dramatic story. It's sort of entertaining. But it's not unlike people face these situations. Fortunately, you probably will never be up a tree with your hands tied behind your back. But you could be sitting in a room like this all by yourself and feel yourself quite in a corner that you can't get out of. You might find yourself, as we say in Zen, up against the gateless gate, some imaginary barrier that you can't get through. You can't go around, you can't logic your way around, you can't love your way out of it. All the tricks of the trade don't work. All the psychological sort of sleight of hand moves don't work. And the only thing left to do is just surrender. And yet it's sort of the last thing that one wants to do, isn't it? It's just like this story. This story points out how much we don't want to surrender. We don't want to see what we actually see. We don't want to know that there's no saving his life. We don't want to know that he's going to die, so we go about trying to save it. There's Zen monks all over the place that sit around meditating, trying to save this guy's life for months at a time, years, until they finally get it. They get what was so obvious from the very beginning. Do you know? You can't save his life that way. The only way you can save his life is to give him a taste of true life. Life without fear. Life without hesitation. Life without doubt. He's got to let go. He's got to lose his life. At the moment he lets go of that branch, not because he tires and it's just wrenched out of his teeth, but when he lets go of it of his own volition, that's a free act. And at that moment he enters into life. He's in a sense, as soon as he lets go of the branch, he's died. He's relinquished his life. And therefore, whatever time he has left, he'll really be alive. He'll really be living. And so, a story like this isn't simply about physical death, of course. It's about all those moments, the kind of psychological death, where we don't know which way to go, which way to turn. Where it seems as though the only thing the universe is asking for us is just to let go, just to surrender. Or in spiritual work, it's not uncommon at all that you come upon barriers of fear. Everybody has their own fears. We have those moments of fear where you feel like you're going to be sort of swallowed up by some sort of void. And then the instinct is to try to do everything to get away from the fear. Just in the same way we try to save this guy's life up the tree. But in the face of that kind of fear, there's really only one response, really one true response. We either cling, hold on, and get more and more afraid, or we let go. The moment you let go, you're not afraid anymore. It's the holding that causes the fear. It's the no. I will not. That's what causes the fear. The holding and the fear is the same thing. So there's many sort of barriers that we all pass through in life, is there not? Barriers of fear, of things that we really must let go of. Let go of doesn't mean to get rid of them, it just means to stop grasping them. Illusion's like that. You don't have to get rid of illusion. In fact, trying to get rid of illusion is a great way to create more of it. You just have to stop clinging to it.